Hello and welcome to the front 9-hole previews of West Park, brought to you by R&K Aerial Media. We're just going to be flying the course today, giving you a quick preview of each hole and telling you a little bit about each one. So, starting off with hole 1, it is a 267-foot par 3. It's a pretty much straight shot off the tee. There are definitely a couple lines. You can either go to the left, right, or straight down the middle of these trees right here that we're seeing. I normally elect to go down the middle myself. Over on the left, there is a big hill that you're going to want to steer clear of. You don't want to go down there. There's a creek at the bottom. It is a steep hill. We're actually going to see that next on hole 2. Hole 2 is a 243-foot par 3. There is a big downhill shot here through a very tight tunnel. You're going to be going over the creek through the tunnel. When it's growing season, the tunnel is very, very tight. It is not an easy shot. There's a lot of downward elevation. Luckily, as long as you make it out of the tunnel, you'll have a putt. On to hole 3. It is a 341-foot par 4. It's a pretty open tee shot. You got this smaller tree in the middle of the fairway that sometimes likes to get in the way of a good-looking shot. But if you miss that guy, and then there's this tree coming up on the left that has a lot of overhanging branches, if you can get around those two trees, stay out of that tall grass and brush on the right, you should have a pretty good chance of getting the birdie on this one. On to hole 4. It is a 246-foot par 3. It's a pretty straight shot with a big slope left to right. You're going to want to normally throw a forehand hyzer because of all this wooded stuff there to the right of the basket. You don't want to end up in that, and I find it's easiest to avoid it throwing a big swooping hyzer line with the forehand. On to hole 5. It's another forehand dominant hole, or a backhand and hyzer. It's a 262-foot par 3. It's a blind tee shot. You do have some overhanging branches here that will sometimes get in the way, but can also be quite helpful if you overthrow it a little bit. Maybe they'll catch you and drop you there right next to the basket instead of going deep into the woods there. Hole 6 is a 207-foot par 3. It's a pretty straight shot. There's a little bit of a slope left to right again, but it's definitely narrow, especially off the tee pad. There's a lot of trees that you're going to want to avoid, but if you can just throw it straight down the gut, you're going to be looking pretty good. On to hole 7. It is a 231-foot par 3. It's definitely a little more open than the last hole. There are still a couple trees to contend with. There is a hyzer line for backhand. It is a little harder to hit, in my opinion. So this is normally a hyzer flip or a forehand hyzer shot. On to hole 8, another very narrow hole through the woods here with a bit of elevation change. It is a 216-foot par 3. If you can make it through that initial gap, you have this nice opening here to fly through before you get to these guardian trees in front of the basket. These guys definitely like to stop you from getting up there and can cause some problems putting. On to hole 9, sadly the tee sign got graffitied, but it's a 269-foot par 3. It's a very tight tunnel shot, making it out into this field here. After you get out of the tunnel, all you're going to want to do is pitch it up to around this concrete foundation here, hopefully over it, and then you should have a good shot at getting a par.